Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the 3 cards from my Bird's Eye View Class to Go. So Class to Go is free with a minimum purchase. So when you purchase $35, you'll get 2 each of these envelopes, and each envelope has all the paper pieces that you need to make these cards. So you'll make 6 cards in total, and you can use the Bird's Eye View stamps like I'll be doing, or if you have other stamps that you would like to substitute in, you could do that as well. If your order reaches $50 pre-tax and shipping, then I'm going to throw in a set. I don't know if you can see them because I don't have them on the backing right now. Here, let's do this. Here you go. So you'll get a set of these adhesive backed sequins trio. You can barely see the white ones there. Just as a thank you for me. Again, when your order reaches $50. And use this host code up here when you're placing your order so that you get all that. There's a special happening right now, so I'm going to share about that in just a second. But before that, those of you who have seen my videos before, you may notice that my craft room has changed a little bit. My oldest daughter got her first apartment at the end of the summer, so she's moved out. It's very exciting, bittersweet time. We miss her. She's coming home this weekend for a little while, so that's good. But, so we ended up redoing her room, her old room, and turning it into my craft room. It's much smaller than my other craft room, but it's downstairs and in the main part of the house instead of upstairs in the addition that we built, and it's not quite so lonely. Partly because my cats live in this part of the house, and so I have 2 of the 4 in here with me right now. Hopefully they'll stay in their beds where they are and not be in the middle of all of what we're doing right here. So that's a lot of the reason why I haven't been posting so much the last couple of months, is it's been a lot of moving things around, painting, being a little bit sad that our oldest isn't home anymore. She was already in the dorms last year, but this year it just feels so much more permanent. She took her cat with her, and she's moved all her stuff out, so it's just different and adjusting to that. So, all right, enough about that. Let me share about this promotion that's happening right now. There it is. So Stampin' Up! Is celebrating 35 years, which is pretty exciting. So we've been celebrating all year long with different things. And right now there is a promotion where if you purchase the starter kit, which I highly recommend that you do. I would love to have you on my team. So if you purchase a starter kit this month in October, you can choose to either have 30% off of your kit. So the kits are normally $99 in the US. So it would make it $64.35. I had to look at my cheat sheet. If you decide to go with the 35% off, and you'll still get $125 worth of product that you get to pick whenever you do it that way. Or you can choose to get 35% more in your kit. So you would go ahead and pay the $99 as usual, but then you would get to pick 35% more, which means you would get to pick $168.75 worth of product for your starter kit. And you also get the business stuff either way. So, but you don't have to sell if you don't want to. It's a great way to get a discount, but the best part is getting to be part of a team, and just part of the Stampin' Up! Community in general. So my team, we meet monthly. And well, everybody lives within an hour. So most of our meetings are in person, but we also do them online sometimes. And if my team, or as my team grows and we get more people that don't live so close, we'll start doing more and more online, because we don't want anybody to be left out. All right, are y'all ready to start making some cards? I know I sure am. Okay, so I'm going to start with showing you the stamp sets that we're going to be using. Sorry about the glare. My lighting situation is better down here, and I haven't quite figured out how to set my lights up best yet. Okay, so the Bird's Eye View stamp set, isn't this adorable? It's all images, as you can see, which I love, because then I can get whatever sentiment that I want to use with it from another set, and create my cards that way. And this set is perfect for any occasion, truly any occasion. So the stamps that I'm using for sentiments with this class are from Something Fancy. I'll be using Happy Birthday, Congratulations, and Thank You on these. And the ink colors that we're using, now not every color is being used on every card, but I've picked 4 colors to use. We've got Pecan Pie, Pool Party, Real Red, and this one is Misty Moonlight. That glare is striking again. So I'm starting with Pecan Pie and Pool Party. Pecan Pie is going to go first. I don't want to open that up yet till I'm ready to use it, because I can make a mess. Okay, so for each card, like I said, you'll get 2 envelopes, and inside each envelope you'll have the pieces that you need to create that card. So here's all of our pieces, and I'm going to start with this one that we're stamping on. And for your kits, you'll get 2 of the little pieces that you'll be stamping on, because sometimes we make mistakes and it's nice to have a backup. And you may not have all of the dies that I'm using on this class. Each card uses a different set of dies. So something else that you'll get is a PDF that has all the instructions on it, plus it also has the supply list. So if you see something that you want to have, it will be in that PDF. And see, I've already stamped this a little bit lower than I generally like to do, but it'll be okay. Usually I stamp that bird kind of high and then stamp the sentiment kind of low, but we'll just stamp on both kind of low this time. That works. Alright, then I'm going to use the Pool Party. Aren't these glasses fun? I love these. So I'm going to use the Pool Party to stamp the glasses on the owl. Oh, so cute. And this one, that's all there is to it as far as the stamping goes. It's really very simple. Not a lot to it. So the first card is pretty simple. The last card is pretty simple. And the middle card, it's not bad. But it is just a little bit more complicated. Not much. Alright, so I'm going to start by putting dimensionals on the back. And you might think I'm crazy for doing it this way, but this is how I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to put this is backwards from how I normally do it. That is plenty of dimensionals. I don't need any more. Sometimes I get carried away with my Stampin' dimensionals. Okay, so what I'm going to do is place these the way that I want them. So I'm going to have this one kind of kicked out at an angle this way, and I'm going to have this one kind of kicked out at an angle this way. That looks great. Okay, so now I'm going to put my adhesive. So I use liquid glue. That's my go-to adhesive. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to put that on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit right there. But if you prefer Stampin' Seal, go for it. You can use whatever it is that you prefer. Okay, so now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it right here on my vellum piece. And it's hanging over the bottom, which is fine. It may not look exactly like the one in my picture, but it's all good. I love that each card is slightly unique, because art is always slightly unique. You never have it exactly the same way, or unless you're photocopying it. So now I can use this as my guide on where to put my glue, because I don't want my glue showing through this vellum. So I'm only putting it where it's going to be hidden by my other pieces. So then I'm going to center this on my early espresso piece. And you can see I'm still hanging down below, but that's fine because I'm still going to take this piece, put my adhesive on the back, make sure my card is opening the correct direction. That would be not good, for it to open upside down or something. I have absolutely done that before, and that's why I know to check every time now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get my handy dandy take your pick tool and get those sequins. So remember, these don't come in your kit unless your order reaches $50 pre-tax and shipping. And if it does, then I will absolutely be sending you a free package, a full package of these sequins that are so great. But if you don't have these and you don't want to place that big of an order, that is not a problem at all. I am sure that you have some kind of embellishment at home that you can add to this. I'm just going to go ahead and put an extra one right there. They say to always have an odd number. And so since the experts say it, I'm going to do it. Alright, so I want to go ahead and decorate the inside of my card too. So I'm going to take that pecan pie again and ink up my stamp. And I'm just going to put my little bird right here. Can't resist having the glasses again either, so make sure that's not too wet from being a cleaner. Okay, so some glasses right there. And then, why not? Let's go ahead and do the same thing on the envelope. So again, I want to make sure, yep, there's the top of my envelope. So my bird can go here. And my glasses can go right here. There we go. So now I have a matching inside of my card, envelope, and my card. I love it. I hope y'all like it too. I always worry when I create things if other people are going to like it as much as I like it. Especially when I really like something, I think, oh dear, is it just me? But Stampin' Up! Just makes it so easy with all their coordinating stuff. And look at this, y'all. Talk about a mess. I just sat my ink pad in my open ink pad. So I'm going to have to clean that up. Okay, card number 1. And now, pardon me while I go clean my stuff. Okay, I almost had disaster while I was paused cleaning everything up there. My cameras and everything are different in this room. And so I accidentally nudged my camera and about made it fall over. Alright, so all of these pieces are for the next card. And I'm going to put these to the side because they're not going to be stamped on just yet. And so these 3 pieces are the ones that you'll have extra bits of. So you'll have double banner and you'll have 4 squares. That way if something goes a little off, then you'll have another chance to get it right. Alright, so I'm going to start with the easy one. And I'm going to stamp congratulations right in the center of this banner. Well, I say in the center, kind of towards the right. I can't really see what I'm doing, so I hope, yeah, that works. So congratulations. And then I'm using Misty Moonlight again, and I'm going to stamp these two birds. So I'm going to start with this one. And I want it to be like a diamond. Okay, so there's the first one, and then the other one. Okay, and I'm going to tell y'all, so the first time I made this card, in fact, the first 2 times I made this card, I stamped and then I die cut. But I'm thinking it might be easier to get your placement right if you die cut on this one and then stamp. So this one, I want it kind of off this way. I want to leave room for the glasses. So trying to center the top of the bird's head on the shape, but also, yeah, leave room for the glasses in there. There we go. I love these. Makes me so happy. Okay, so now we're going to use those watercolor pencils. I don't think I showed you that at the beginning, did I? So, I'm using watercolor pencils with a blender pen. And this is an old set of watercolor pencils. There is a new set out with some of the new colors. They're mostly all the same. There's just 1 or 2 little color changes for the new set. So I'm using Pumpkin Pie for the nose. And I'm going to use Calypso Coral. Nope, I want to use Melon Mambo. Let's see if I can figure out which one of these. That one's Melon Mambo. So I'm going to use Melon Mambo for the main part of this bird. And you can go as dark or as light as you like. I just love this pink with the blues. I think it's beautiful. You don't have to color perfect because you're going to go back over it again with your blender pen. Okay, so this one I'm doing the tummy. And then for this one, I believe, yeah, Pacific Point is the one I'm going to use. Which, so this is one of the changes. Pacific Point is a retired color. Interesting. So I'm looking at the new assortment and it says blue. So evidently there is still a color in there that is somewhat like Pacific Point. It may even be the same. Not sure, because I have not bought that new set yet. And if you have assortment 2, which I do, I just thought it would be nice to be able to do everything with one set of watercolors. But if you have if you have assortment 2, Night of Navy is in assortment 2, so it'll match, everything will match a lot better if you use that instead. And I think this bright color is actually going to... So the first time I did this, I used my ink pads. I didn't use my watercolor pencils. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. So here's the Night of Navy. I'll just go over everything just a little bit with it. And we'll blend those two together and see what that turns out to look like. There we go. So you could use watercolor assortment 2 instead and use crushed curry for the nose, or even Cajun craze. And then I would use Flirty Flamingo to color the pink parts. In fact, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over. Why did I look at this before? I just have a tendency to grab that first assortment, I guess out of habit. Okay, so that's going to be fantastic. You can use either assortment that you have, just whichever one you have. And then the trick is not to use the one that I've marked with bleach. Let's put that away. So grab your blender pen, and then, can you see this? Let's see. I thought I might have a way to magnify what I'm doing, but I guess I don't. So I'm just going to go over everything. You want to be careful. You can kind of see that I've muddied things a bit by getting too close to the edge there. So I've pulled in some of that ink that I stamped the image in. And you can always go back and add more color if you want it darker. You want to be careful that you don't go over your stamped places very much, because then, yeah, see, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me pull these closer. So where I've colored the pink, it might not work. You can kind of see right above the glasses where I got a little bit of the blue on there. And then same thing on the belly of this one. It's hard to see. So it's just minor. Let me turn off this. You can see it a little bit better there. No, there we go. So just be careful not to pull, especially on the pink part. Be careful not to pull too much of that blue ink in. If you were stamping and say stays on, that would be better, but we don't have these colors in the stays on. So usually the rule is to do like watercoloring type stuff with stays on, and if you're going to use the alcohol markers, then you would use the classic pads. Another way to keep it from bleeding like this is if you stamp it and then immediately heat emboss it with clear embossing powder. That'll set everything really good. Okay, so there's our pieces. Now it's going to be time to put everything together. So I'm going to start by putting this piece. All this designer series paper, I can't remember if I said, is from One Horse Open Sleigh, which is an online exclusive. So Stampin' Up! Sometimes, well, every couple of months, we'll put new things on the online store that are not necessarily in the catalog. So you want to keep an eye on that, because that's fun. So what I'm going to do is just make sure you can see my whole card here. So I'm going to get my spacing right. So I want these to be almost all the way to the edge, but not quite. And I want them to be, grid paper might help me out here. So there we go. So I'm going to start with this bottom one, and it does look like I have it about in the right place. I have it. So I'm going to just take it and put a little bit of glue on that end. Look at it again and make sure. So that glue will be covered up. And yeah, I think that looks good. That doesn't look good. Shoot. So I like using the glue because it gives me time to adjust if I need to. But you've got to be careful because sometimes you adjust when you don't need to. Like I just did. But that's okay. So that works. Alright, before I put anything else down, I'm going to go ahead and attach these pieces with my dimensionals. So adhesive is something that does not come in your kit. So you can use whatever it is that you like to use the best. Had some glue on that finger. It's kind of sticky. There we go. So what I'm going to do is just do that one corner again. That was the wrong corner. So make sure you get the right corner. So it's in this corner right here that I want. So I'm going to put it right there. Pick this up a little bit. There we go. Hold that down for just a second. So it's that corner. That looks good. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to put a little dot, like just a little bitty on each of those, and then I'm going to put a little bit here. So this can go right across here. Just like that. There we go. So twine is something else that I'm not including in your kit. Really, your kit is just the paper pieces. Everything cut and ready for you to go. Twine, I figure, is something that almost everybody will have. And if you don't have this exact twine, surely you have something similar that you can use. I wanted a small bow, but that is too small. Let's see how long I'm cutting this. Alright, so let's go 10 inches just to be safe. There we go. So I'm not even going to tie a knot. I'm just going to tie my bow. A little smaller, a little tighter. There we go. Sorry, I'm doing a double bow just because it stands out more. I'm going to trim my ends up where they're closer together. You can make them as long or as short as you want. I think everybody usually has their own way of doing bows and things. There we go. So what I'm going to do is put just a little bit of glue. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put my glue right here on that. And it's just a little dab will do you. I'm going to put my bow right there on that little bit. And then I'm going to take a block. I'm going to set it right there. And I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. I'm going to take my envelope now. And I want to stamp this little guy again. This time on my envelope. So don't do that. I'm going to leave that because I can put this in the mail to somebody, and I'll just put a great big old sticker with my address on it right up there in that corner, and it'll be covered up and it'll be great. Nobody will ever know except for you guys. It'll be our secret. I like that in stamping there's so many ways to cover up boo-boos because I can have my very clumsy days. And I don't think I'm going to color the one on the front. I think I'm going to just leave it just like that, ready to go. So this should be also ready to go. It doesn't take long for that glue to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to add this piece of white cardstock to the inside. And if you decide that you want to add something to this piece before you glue it in, that's fine. Just make sure that it's either hidden by this panel here or maybe this little square here. You just don't want it, it might look funny if it's peeking out somewhere. And then this strip decorates this side right here. So you just want to try to line it up with your white piece. Okay, there we go. Now, not quite finished, but very, very close. I need to find where I stashed my sequins. Okay, so I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool again, just because it's handy. I'm going to put a sequin down here, and I'm going to put a couple of sequins. I didn't pick it up. I'm going to put a couple of sequins. I'm going to put them here and here. And there we go. Now it's all done. And it's a pretty easy fun fold. I might have made it look a little bit more complicated than it is, just because of my dropsy moments. Okay, so the next card, I love this one. This one could be a Christmas card if you just change the sentiment to Merry Christmas instead of Happy Birthday. So let's get all of our pieces out. I'm going to do things a little bit different this time. I'm going to start by going ahead and sticking this piece on the front here. Okay, then again, you'll have two of these. And I'm going to take that piece that stamp that I just used. Okay, make sure you clean these two. You want to make sure all that glue is off before. So it looks like there's glue on there, but I think I just left too much glue on there once. Too long before cleaning it, so now it's just kind of stained. Okay, so all the blue's gone. I'm going to use that pecan pie again. I'm going to stamp my happy little bird right here in the middle of this. So cute. But then, to make it even better, I'm going to grab that real red and stamp the glasses in real red. Ta-da! Just like that. And then this little piece gets your happy birthday stamp. So again, real red trying to make sure y'all could see, so I can't see very well what I'm doing. So I made it a little bit high. I could flip it over, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to let it be a little bit high. Again, you'll have 2 of these in your class kit. So if you don't like it being that high on yours, you can always do it on the spare piece. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to lay it here. I'm not putting it on yet. I just want to get an idea of where it's going to be. Putting some adhesive on the back of this strip. And then I'm going to put this strip right here. I want to make sure it's even. I don't want anything crooked, and I want it even with the top. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is take my twine and I'm going to take a couple of glue dots. Sometimes I use glue dots for this, sometimes I use linen thread, but I really like the glue dots. So I'm going to put one here. I'm going to put one here. Then I'm going to go ahead and put one in between those. Okay, so now I'm going to take my twine or whatever ribbon that you have, or you can leave this part off. Whatever you want to do, but I'm going to take that and I'm going to wrap it around twice. And I'm crossing it. So I'm going to kind of spread it out on the front. Okay, so there's what the back looks like. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off of there. Then I'm going to see that little piece that I had earlier is going to be long enough for this bow. Probably not. No, I think it's still too short. I'm going to grab another piece. I'm going to go 9 inches this time because that other one was a little long. And before I do that, I'm going to use my dimensionals. I'm going to put this on the front of my card. So you want this one to kind of be centered up on that pecan pie piece of cardstock. So now I'm going to glue my stamped on piece to this bigger die cut. There we go. And then I'm going to use dimensionals again. Right there, and I'm putting them in the corners. I don't want to put them in the middle where that twine is because that'll make it kind of lumpy. I don't want lumpiness. Okay, so I'm just going to put that right about there, like so. I'm going to take this ribbon, I'm going to slide it under the twine and tie my bow. Oh boy. So I'm kind of twisting the ribbon up and I don't want that. I might have to restart. Let's see if I can fix it just with my fingers. smaller, hopefully without twisting it more. Just kidding. Seem to be twisting it more. Okay, that works. All right, so now I'm going to take this happy birthday and I'm going to put one dimensional behind the birthday part. And I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue behind the happy. And then I'm going to put this just like so right here. Alright, so now I'm going to get my sequins again. I'm going to take your pick tool. This time I'm going to use the pointy end of my take your pick tool. I'm just going to put one here. I'll put one right about here. I'm going to put another one. We're going to go right there. Okay, and then for the inside, I'm just going to do as I've been doing, and I'm going to stamp. I just love these birds and these glasses too much. So I'm going to stamp the little bird right here on the edge. You can have it hanging off if you would like. The glasses are for sure going to be hanging off, so I'm just going to let it go with that. There we go. Oh, I closed it up. I do want to go ahead and do that on the front of the envelope as well. Sometimes I like to stamp these images on the envelope flap on the back. That's always an option and a fun little thing to do. But today I'm feeling it more on the front. So we have 3 cards, and again, you'll have enough if you decide that you want this kit, this class to go, then you'll get enough to make 2 of each of these, not including sequins or twine, but all the paper pieces you'll have. Thanks for watching. I hope that you like these cards and are inspired to create. And if you have any questions about my class to go or anything else Stampin' related, maybe that joining special, then don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact me at judithpattersontx@gmail.com, or just go to judithpatterson.net and there's a contact me link on that page. All right, y'all have a great day. Happy stamping.